This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Game Reviews here on the channel tonight. And well, can I read you something? Can I? Can I just take a second and read you something I sent my buddy Mike this afternoon? Can I just take that and give you a second here? Let's go. Where's Mike? There's Mike. All right. Actually, it was this morning, 10:38 a.m. this morning. I said, all right, Mike. So tonight the key is for the Oilers to play as bad as possible and let Toronto show us what they got, so we know better for the other two games. Got a feeling? Well, I was being sarcastic there, but well, when you try to think you know what's up with the Oilers, sometimes it works in reverse. And that reverse actually worked in reverse and worked out to work the way it sounded, if you get where I'm going with that. And that being, the Oilers played bad. I mean, we were due for it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we weren't due. I told you what the other night we went down 3-0 against Vancouver. We were due for a bad game because we hadn't had a bad one in a while. And, well, we get one here, right? Now, all of a sudden, 3-1, 3-1, 5-1. That's a pretty good stretch of games, if I don't say so myself. I'm going to say that's an alright stretch of games that I'm going to very much so appreciate. And the fact that we even reached 5-game winning streak at some point this year already, that's solid for me. But the fact is, it's still a stinker, no matter how you put it, right? A 4-0 game where it just... the same old things that killed the Oilers in the past few years killed the Oilers tonight. Look at the score sheet. Connor McDavid, a -3. Darnell Nurse on the ice, taking knees, going down to both knees, getting walked around because he's way too predictable when he starts doing that in a game. Mitch Marner burns him twice. Like, it's just a brutal game out of two key pieces of the Oilers' defensive and offensive situation. And okay, well, Tyson, you're talking about Darnell Nurse getting walked around defensively and Connor McDavid being a -3 defensively. How does that have anything to do with the offensive side of the game they brought tonight? Well, Darnell Nurse, I'm pretty sure, I don't even need to look at the stats, I paid attention to the broadcast tonight, is the fact that during the broadcast they made note of Darnell Nurse leads the Oilers in shots tonight. Darnell Nurse leads the Oilers in shots tonight. And for a match that was 29 shots apiece, you look at those 29 shots, and realistically, probably the high danger chances skewed so far in Toronto's favor, they probably should have won 6-7 nothing based on those stats. The shots, however, even out to be 29-29 apiece and a 4-0 score for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's not realistically that Mike Smith was that awful. Yeah, you can probably, that Jason Spezza goal, if you want to call it against Mike Smith, but that is vintage Spezza is what they were saying on the broadcast. And I'm sorry, you know what, after I rewatched the goal a couple of times, I'm like, I've seen that before. That's something I've seen a couple times watching Spezza over the course of his career. And then, right, like that goal where Josh Archibald is in the opening of the net to open the scoring, that one's not on Smith, so yeah, okay. Do you want to say 2 or 3 goals at most against Mike Smith? And if you're going at that 2.5 mark, that doesn't sink the Oilers. What sunk the Oilers tonight is just going out there and putting up a stinker, right? And low effort, right? Low intensity by the looks of it, other than Josh Archibald, who had like 10 hits or something crazy. But low intensity game from start to finish, right? Connor McDavid never really drove anything. Yeah, sure, Toronto did a good job of holding them off, but I'm sorry, you're Connor McDavid. If somebody's holding you off, you just work 10 times harder. But the problem is when you're not playing defense, you can't create anything offensively, which you saw. Dave Tippett was noticing his top guys weren't doing the job defensively, which led to the bottom 6 guys getting going. But still, they were just floating chances on net themselves because Toronto was playing tough D. Toronto, for once, didn't blow a 3-0 lead. So yeah, right, it's a stinker. It sucks. It is what it is, but we're due for it. We're due for it. And now, can I read you that text message one more time? Can I just go replay it, Mike? I apologize if this is like the 5th time you've heard this today. So tonight, the key is to play as bad as possible and let Toronto show us what they got so we know better for the other 2 games. So there you go. That's all it is the Oilers played as bad as they possibly can, hopefully, right? Hopefully. And now we know better for game 2 and 3 of this series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. You see how this works? It's these premonitions. I don't know. I'm going to start predicting things here. I'm going to start a psychic channel as a secondary channel that all YouTubers do at some point. No, I'm not. But you get where I'm going. Is this one maybe all too predictable, if that is to be said? So, tough, right? It's a weird one. I mean, right? The Oilers rolling and then they just magically put this one up. But also go back to what I was saying in the pregame. No Matthews. Campbell in net, not Anderson. The Oilers, they've been rolling 11-2-0 in their past 13 games. Trap game. Absolute trap game. And that's exactly what this was for the Oilers. And that's what it ended up being for the Oilers. And I think, if anything, the disappointing part in this loss is simply knowing that every kind of textbook on the Oilers was saying this was going to be a loss. And you've got all this energy from the past 13 games saying, no. We're turning the corner here. We're turning the page. We're getting going on this. We're going to be a different team tonight in a situation we've historically not been a good team in. And then, 3 periods of hockey later, 4-0 loss in regulation, and the Oilers are still that team. That's the frustrating part. That's the part of, if you're supposed to get angry anywhere tonight, it's there. Get angry at Darnell Nurse if you want. Get angry at Connor McDavid if you want. Whatever. That's your own. Make up your own opinion. I'm not asking you to take my opinion and use it as your own. But what I'm saying is the one situation you should get angry about tonight is the fact of, right, the Oilers are getting there, but they're not quite there. And tonight was one of those chances to really show and prove that they were taking those steps forward, and they didn't. But is it going to end the season? Is it going to doom our playoff chances? No. That 3-6 start didn't doom our playoff chances. That loss 6-4 to Calgary didn't doom our playoff chances, right? I mean, realistically, we need to go, this is game 23 played now. There's 33 games to go. We need to go 17-15, 17 and whatever the math, 17 and 16, whatever the math is, 17, 18 and 15, probably 18 and 15 is what we have to go down the rest of the way this season. That, my friends, is completely doable for the Oilers. So, just to walk everybody off the ledge, I thought I'd do that. Now let's talk about the goal scorers. It was Nylander on the power play. That's the Archibald one I talked about. Mitch Marner scoring a goal. You got Jason Spezza, vintage Spezza, and then Zach Hyman late in that third period going bar down and putting the final nail in the coffin. All right, Leafs fans, you happy? I talked about your guys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we get focused. We get ready for the next game between these two teams, with separation in the standings now. 6 points for the Toronto Maple Leafs, 28 points for the Oilers, sitting in second, and they will stay in second no matter what Winnipeg does against Montreal tonight. And we play Monday, March 1st, start the next month against the same opponent we end this month with, sitting in second. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson Dolynny TV, up on out of here.